If you want to make a sincere change in your life, you have to have a brutally honest self-assessment. It's as simple as comparing yourself right now to the person that you want or know you can be. Be brutally honest about that mishaps. A lot of people like to imagine themselves greater than they are to cope, but this keeps them from making real improvements because they can't be honest about where they currently are. My name is Misunderstood Adrian, and I want to welcome you to God Got Goons podcast. The way that it works is we meet here and we talk about regular things that are bothering us, that we are going through, but then we learn how to be who we are, stand in the presence, show up in the space, and understand that God got goons, and we're out here working together, saving God's kingdom. Now, I was reading an article, and it really was simple. It was all about how to get your shit together. So today, I like to sit down and really discuss what he said and then let you know how I feel. So if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget, if you're on YouTube, click that bell so that you can get all of the up and coming podcasts and shows or whatever we decide to do. So without further ado, it says if you could figure out how to get your shit together, you can make a lot of amazing things happen in your life. Because it seems pretty straightforward, but we just can't do it. You know you have to, and you want to see the things that you almost can do. Even though we can doubt ourselves quite a bit, we have that little voice in our head that tells us that we are legitimately destined for greatness. That's why when we daydream, it's so pleasurable. Not because it's unrealistic, but because it is realistic based on the versions of who we see with our shit together. So these daydreams get you fired up. Maybe you act on them for a short period of time. Then you inevitably stumble. You want to get out of that rut and genuinely feel like you have your shit together. So how do you really do it? Face the truth. You already know how to get your shit together. The key is getting started with the process and knowing that you already know. One of the hardest things to do simply is stop lying to yourself. You're not lost. You just don't want to be found. You're not aimless. There are plenty of places you aim if you weren't so tied to your current identity. If you really want to make a sincere change in your life, you have to have a brutally honest self-assessment. It's as simple as comparing yourself now to the person you know that you could be. Lots of us have plenty of potential, but no results, and the results that we make really do matter. The results were abysmal, and I have to admit that to myself, instead of trying to cope by saying things would be getting better eventually. This goes for you too. Understand that things won't magically get better eventually. Stop telling yourself you'll get out of that entry level job and start your business eventually. No, the odds are you'll stay in that career for too long or forever. Stop telling yourself you'll get in shape eventually. Know that the more out of shape you continue to get, the harder it will be to get into shape and the less likely you are to do it. So combine that brutally honest self-assessment with the sense of urgency. And if you're not where you want to be in this life, you should be worried. Now, you don't have as much time as you think. With this sense of urgency in mind, focus on a 3-step process that you need to follow to get your shit together and start legitimately moving towards your dreams. Step 1, stop digging. Regardless of where you are right now, your focus is not on making things worse. Don't fall into what it looks like called, a death spiral. Death spirals are those actions you take because you're already so much in a hole, you figure a few extra inches won't hurt. But you're out of shape, so you binge eat, telling yourself that you'll start your workout tomorrow. Before you quit alcohol, you go on one last bender. It's the equivalent of putting your last coin in the slot machine after you've lost all your money at the casino. You know you're not going to hit the jackpot, but you get sort of a release when the last ditch effort is pulling that lever. So As the last psychiatrist explains, this allows you to play act catharsis. You tell yourself that one last hurrah with your shitty life will give you the motivation that you make things better. But it does the opposite. It further reinforces the fact that you're not serious about changing your life at all. And if you're as serious about changing your life, then you have to stop the bleeding as soon as possible. Cut it off the moment you're really ready to change. And don't do the final shitty habit ceremony. Think about all the things that you're making your life worse, and then stop doing those things. Stop trying to be smart. Stop being dumb. Stop thinking you're going to magically create this perfect life, and start eliminating the things that are obviously destructive and keeping you from living the life you know